When I first heard about Bitcoin hitting $1 million, I thought it was crazy. But after seeing how the markets moved, I'm convinced. Let me share what I've learned and how this could change everything for your investment strategy. But here's the crazy part, Bitcoin's price is not following the same patterns as other assets. So, why has it been able to defy the odds? Bitcoin has an incredible history. It started back in 2009 when its price was practically zero. In the early days, it was just an experiment, something for tech enthusiasts. But then, more and more people realized that Bitcoin was more than just a digital currency. Bitcoin saw massive price increases. The first significant rise came in 2013 when it broke past $1,000. In the last few years, we've seen Bitcoin's price soar from about $20,000 to over $100,000. This is huge when you consider that many traditional assets are much less volatile. Why has Bitcoin experienced such success? And what does this mean for its price in the future? So, what makes this time different from previous bull runs? I'll explain that in just a moment. What if I told you the current market conditions are setting up for Bitcoin to hit $1 million sooner than you think? The next move could be massive. The current market is the perfect breeding ground for another Bitcoin boom. Many experts agree that economic uncertainty, rising inflation, and the introduction of digital currencies by central banks could drive up demand for Bitcoin. Central banks are printing more and more money, weakening the value of fiat currencies like the US dollar. Because of this inflation, more people are turning to a safe currency, and Bitcoin has become known as digital gold. More and more institutional investors like MicroStrategy, Tesla, and even banks like JP Morgan are betting on Bitcoin. This institutional acceptance could be a sign that the price will continue to rise. But even with all this potential, there's one huge factor that most people aren't paying attention to, and it could be the game changer for Bitcoin's value. Here's the most exciting part, Bitcoin isn't just growing in value, it's becoming more widely used, and I'm going to tell you why this could push it to $1 million. What many don't realize is that the technology behind Bitcoin is incredibly strong. The blockchain that powers Bitcoin is secure, transparent, and decentralized. It provides a way to transfer value without relying on a central institution like a bank. And Bitcoin's adoption is growing rapidly. Countries like El Salvador have made Bitcoin legal tender, and more companies are accepting Bitcoin as payment. This growing usage could drive massive demand for Bitcoin and push the price higher. This might be the main driver that takes Bitcoin to $1 million in the coming years. Now, here's where it gets interesting. There's a critical factor that could push Bitcoin's price into overdrive, and you need to hear this before it's too late. Imagine a world where more and more people want Bitcoin, but there's less and less of it available. What do you think will happen to the price? Bitcoin has a unique feature, its fixed supply. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin, and over 18 million have already been mined. This limited supply makes Bitcoin especially attractive to investors who see it as a hedge against inflation and currency devaluation. As more people want to own Bitcoin but the supply is limited, the price will inevitably rise. This is the basic law of supply and demand, and it's one of the strongest factors pushing Bitcoin's price upward. This supply limit is a big reason why Bitcoin is seen as a store of value. But even with all these factors, the real kicker is something happening right now that could send Bitcoin's price soaring like never before. This is the part that will blow your mind. Bitcoin could become the world's reserve currency. Let me explain why that's not as far-fetched as it sounds. Bitcoin has the potential to become a global reserve currency. The world has already seen countries turn to Bitcoin in times of crisis, and more financial institutions are incorporating Bitcoin into their portfolios. In the future, Bitcoin could be used as a global currency, functioning across borders without the need for intermediaries like banks. If Bitcoin gets integrated into the global financial system, it could play a major role, similar to how the US dollar functions today. This could lead to a dramatic price surge as more countries adopt Bitcoin as part of their financial infrastructure. But will Bitcoin really hit $1 million? And if so, how soon? The answer might surprise you. I believe that Bitcoin could hit $1 million in the next 5 to 10 years. Why? Because the technology behind Bitcoin is still being innovated, more people and institutions are adopting it, and there's just incredible demand fighting against the limited supply. But the most important thing is that Bitcoin has the potential to become a global currency, and that would send the price through the roof. Combining technological innovation, increasing adoption, and supply-demand dynamics sets the perfect stage for Bitcoin to reach $1 million. But this is just the beginning. Bitcoin's journey is far from over, and if you think $1 million is big, wait until you hear what's coming next. But before we go there, make sure you check out my next video, Trump Warns Crypto Investors. Get ready, where I'll dive into why even major financial institutions are getting nervous about the future of crypto. Trust me, you won't want to miss this.